Welcome back to another episode of Joyful on Purpose. My name is Megan. I'm a mom to one toddler who's determined to enjoy motherhood. The Lord's led me to gather and share the wisdom of the mothers around me. So today I'm very excited to have with me my mother-in-law, who we'll call Susie for this episode. And I'm excited to get started.
Yeah.
So if you could just tell me the number of children that you have and their age range.
So I have given birth to 4 children. I have 3 children that I have raised. I have a daughter that's 31 years old, a son that's 26, and another son that's 24.
So can you just paint a picture for us of what your life was like when they were younger?
It was fun. It was busy. It was chaotic. It was a whirlwind of emotions at times. I was a working mom raising 3 kids. My husband at the time, he worked out of town Monday through Thursday, so there were a lot of days, it was like coming home from work being like single mom kind of lifestyle. But it was actually a lot of fun though. I feel like kids in the younger years are like medicine to you. They kind of wipe away the hard day at work or the just all the things that the adult life can bring on you. Kids and their innocence and their fun behavior can just kind of wipe that away. You probably experienced that too as a mom.
Yeah, in some ways.
Yeah.
I know, I think, honestly, just even how distracting they are is
Yeah.
kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. A little different, but similar.
We went to church. We went to church a lot, actually. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, on Wednesday nights. We had family at the beach, so we would go to the beach as often as possible. And we did a lot of fun things. When I look back, having them raised, I know it was chaotic and it was stressful, but it's like the happy moments is what you kind of are stuck with, and like it was a really good phase of life. I always enjoyed like every phase of motherhood.
Right.
Public bathrooms was my least favorite. So, and when really little ones, you will visit those a lot. I hated public and still do hate public bathrooms, but other than that, I can honestly say, even in the midst of what it felt like so much chaos, there's never enough time for yourself, for each of them as individuals. It was really
such a sweet time.
Yeah, it was a very sweet time. Yeah.
So in that time, you ended up going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Right. So
hold on, let's scratch all that.
What was that like going through a divorce with children?
Separation and divorce with children is definitely not something that you want to experience. And it took a lot of years of our marriage to come to terms that this marriage is not healthy, not healthy enough to sustain raising a family and longevity. So when the decision was made, it was a hard decision to make. Fortunately, I look back, I'm so thankful for this. I was thankful for it then, I'm thankful for it now, that he and I both agreed that this isn't working. Yeah. And it not after one time of discussing, divorce or separation. After multiple times of discussing it, we both came to a rational agreement that this isn't working. And we talked about what will work. We knew that we didn't need to be in the same home. Us being in the same home, trying to raise the same family together wasn't providing the kids what they need, growing up. So we agreed that this is not going to work and that we would do everything that we could to keep them stable because we both had equivalent interest in parenting our children. Right. It just wasn't happening in the same home because of our conflicts of interest with each other and things.
Despite being divorced, you still lived next door to him until your youngest moved out. So can you just help us understand that decision?
Yeah, so when we first separated, I left the home and moved, I don't know, like 1.5 miles, 2 miles from our home. And we tried things that way. I was renting the home, so it was definitely nothing permanent. I was renting the home, and all the kids were involved in sports. Of course, they had school, we had family activities and church activities and things. And being just 2 miles apart from each other, from the 2 different homes, it was really difficult on the kids. The ultimate thing I did want for my kids was stability. So when you have to come to terms that this marriage isn't going to work and we got to navigate other avenues, the last thing you want is them having to live out of duffel bags, meet in public parking places, to exchange parents on the weekends or whatnot. So that was a little taste of what the rest of their lives could look like if we weren't in the same home. And the more I thought about it and how inconvenient it was for the kids and the instability that it had, to offer, it was also inconvenient for their dad. It was inconvenient for me. And there are better ways we could use our time, other than having to run for the sports bag of whatever sports was in that season or equipment and stuff. So, and them for their clothes. So I spoke with my ex-husband about, look, I want to keep them in the same school district. I want to keep them, as close to you as possible, as close to me as possible, with as much stability. So what are your thoughts on I build my home right next door to you? And of course, do all that in a legal way so that, I have an established home. He has an established home. And he was on board with the idea. Of course, he liked the idea that the kids would be close to him. I liked the idea that they'd be close to me at all times. So it was something we agreed on. And believe me when I tell you, it was not for me. I could have left that town at that time, no strings attached. But it was primarily for the stability of the kids and out of respect for their dad who wants to be a dad, and I appreciated that. So it turned out to be a really good life. I believe my kids would agree that they liked it because I think they realized after they got older that me and him weren't a good fit in the same home consistently, but it worked out for them to have their father and their home there and mom and their home here, and it was just they would walk across the backyard and they had everything they needed, and if it weren't in this particular location, it was just a short walk across the yard to have what they needed. And I feel like their lives were kept as stable as possible, given that it was a broken home. And that was the ultimate goal of mine and their dad at the time.
That's awesome.
And it worked good for me. I was comfortable with that. I think he was very comfortable with it.
Yeah. I'm sure there were times where navigating this unique situation, living next door to your ex-husband, became difficult. And I guess, just the divorce and co-parenting became difficult. So what truths did you remind yourself of during that time?
So, well, it was a great living arrangement for us. There were some things I hadn't clearly thought through. I mean, you can't see exactly what it's going to look like, and you're trying to make decisions, kind of not fast. You don't want to rush into decisions, but there's decisions to be made. So we made these decisions without thinking some things through. So one thing's kind of funny. We're next door neighbors, right? And I can see his backyard. He can see my backyard. And one morning, and we're at the country, so it's very private. One morning, I'm outside in my backyard, and I look over there, and Carly had a softball tournament that day, my oldest child, and he was loading his truck, going across his backyard in his underwear. And I said, okay, I do not want to see this the rest of my life. So not immediately, but my next step, living there, I had somebody come and build a 6-foot privacy fence, just enough to block the immediate barrier. But so that wasn't, that was just a little funny kind of in that. But during this time, I had to constantly remind myself that my kids will still have a good childhood. They have a dad that loves them, a mom that loves them, and they have not one stable home, but they have 2 stable homes, and that they can still have a good life and a wholesome life despite the broken marriage. I prayed about it a lot. I felt like up to making the decision, I felt like it was the right thing to do through prayer and things that, we were experiencing.
What advice or encouragement do you have for someone who may be entering separation or just a new family dynamic?
One thing I would say to parents that are going through a situation like this, once you've gotten to the decision that the marriage isn't going to work and there are kids involved, keep their best interests in mind. Stop fighting. Just put a primary focus on what am I going to do to make sure my child has a stable and wholesome life despite the broken home.
So we just took a small break. My son woke up from his nap again. So Lord willing, we're going to finish this interview. Was there anything that God was teaching you through all of this?
Yes, I felt like God was teaching me a lot during this time because leading up to the decision of the divorce, I felt like such a failure. I felt like my marriage can't fail. I grew up just dreaming of the day I could be a wife and a mom, and this isn't supposed to happen. And, we were involved in church and the community and our family and everything. And I don't know, it just felt like a failure because it wasn't working. I mean, a little bit emotional, but there's a lot of situations in the Bible where people failed God and God still used them, for good. Right. And coming to terms with the divorce, I don't know, it's kind of like God reminded me that it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad mom. And that I could still live for Him. I could still provide a healthy home and a stable home. And I feel like God actually guided us into the directions of being able to make rational decisions for our children. Because I think that was both of our primary interest, was what's this going to do to the kids. So I feel like I learned a lot going through that. And it's kind of I'm still reminded. I still don't like that my kids had to grow up that way, but God quickly reminds me that they had a good life, and He provided for us.
We are about to move into a section talking about infant loss, so I just wanted to say, if this is a topic that might be sensitive or tender for you right now, please take care of your heart and maybe skip this section or come back when you're ready to listen to it. Can you walk us through the series of events that led to the loss of your baby?
Yeah, so finding out that I was pregnant with the second child, it was pretty exciting. It wasn't something that we had specifically planned for at that time. My oldest child at the time, she was 3, and having a second child was, it kind of fell in place. It's time if you're going to have multiple children. So it was a good thing to be pregnant, and what started out as what we thought was a healthy pregnancy.
Right.
Of course, we were excited about it. And it was probably like in the latter part of my 3rd trimester, I started experiencing some things that I knew wasn't normal. So bring it to the attention of my doctor, and they got concerned. So they did ultrasounds and things, and it turns out I had, it's pretty rare, but it's called placenta previa, where the placenta is becoming detached from the walls. There's the concern that it could all become detached and you lose the baby like instantly. So I was bedridden and under really close monitoring and stuff at the time, which try being bedridden with a 3-year-old, and a house to keep and a yard to keep and all those things. So we took all the precautions that I was told to take. It got worse around week 22, 23, and so on. So they decided to put me in the hospital so that I could be more closely monitored, because the risk of her being born was becoming higher and higher. They put me in the hospital. The closest hospital at that time was maybe about 45 minutes away, one of the smaller hospitals. So they put me in there for about a week to monitor me. And then it seemed like I was becoming more and more at risk of going into early labor. So they put me in a hospital in the closest big city where they had a better NIC unit, just in case, I did go into labor and have her. And they had a better group of doctors there that could monitor me more closely. So I'm in the hospital. They're monitoring me every day to make sure that I don't go into labor. And then all of a sudden, one day I lay in bed in pain all day long, all night long. And I tell them, I'm in pain. One day my mom came to visit, and I was telling her what kind of pain I was in. And they were telling me it was normal and I was okay. They never checked my stats though. Like, they can hook you up to equipment to see if these are real contractions or whatnot.
Right.
So my mom came in one day to visit and sit with me and stuff, and I was telling her about the kind of pain I was in, and she mentioned it to my nurse. She said, "I think you probably should monitor her and see if she's actually in labor."
Right.
And it was the second shift nurse or whatever. So they brought equipment in there, and it turns out, based on the readings of the equipment, that I was in hardcore labor.
Mm.
The unfortunate part, I had been in labor so long, unrecognized. I had been in labor so long that it had already put too much stress on the baby. And there was no stopping the baby at that point from being delivered. There was a time during my hospital stay, during the 3-week stay, that they gave me a shot of the betamethasone that's supposed to be like a steroid to the lungs to the baby, just in case she came early. But it still wasn't enough at that point to guarantee that she was healthy enough to survive or strong enough lungs to be able to breathe and stuff. Being connected to the monitors, it was proven that I am in labor. Too late to stop it at this point. It's already put a lot of stress on the baby. The baby needs to come out, but she can't enter through the birthing canal because that will add more stress on her.
Yeah.
So it became a pretty scary emergency at that time. They called my husband. He had to rush to the hospital, and they're gonna put me in an emergency C-section. My ex-husband did get there just in time, kind of to say goodbye to me before they rolled me into the operating room. And she was delivered via C-section. And when I came out I was put to sleep during the C-section. So when I came out of the C-section, I don't know if you've ever had surgery, but when you wake up, you don't even know. You don't even know what happened. Did we do anything? Oh, what day is it? You don't even know. But I had the baby, and she was in the NIC unit, which was a very good NIC unit at the hospital. And they had taken pictures of her and had Polaroid pictures to share. So that was nice. And that was the only way I could see her. So here she is. She's born. But they gave us so much hope that she was going to be okay. I mean, statistics show that a 1 pound, 7 ounce baby can survive.
Right.
She would have to be in the NIC unit. They predicted until her due date.
Okay.
So she was born at 26 weeks, so we still had a ways to go.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was able to go down into the NIC unit and visit her and meet her, for the first time.
What did you lean on during that time soon after that, and how did you get through it?
I definitely leaned on God during that time. And I look back, and it's like God granted me with, like, the faith of a mustard seed. He really did. Like, I look back in that time, and I even questioned, how did I get through that? And I know it was God. And we had a really good church group. They were so supportive and loving and constantly, praying for us and doing things for us.
Yeah.
My family, my mom and stepdad and his parents, they were all there and available to us. Having a child at the time, I have to admit, that was medicine for my soul. Having a 3-year-old, to kind of brighten the day. And I really believed that my baby was going to be okay. She was going to live. We were going to get through this and bring her home. Even after we lost her, God provided like an amazing amount of strength and faith at that time. Like through all of it, as hard as it was, there was just like this an abundance of faith that told me God has a plan. And everything will be okay. Without a doubt, that's what got me through it.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. So did you ever blame yourself for what happened?
So I can't say I really blamed myself. I feel like looking back, I feel like I may have had too much faith in the doctors, because when, they're putting me in the hospital to monitor me and the baby so that I don't go in premature labor. And then they ignored all the signs of me being in premature labor. So to the point that it was too late to stop it. So I wonder if I should have been more aware of what's was going on. We didn't have Google then, to look up all the things. I can't say that I really blame myself for it. I still believe everything happens for a reason. That God has a plan with things. So I hold on to that. That was all a part of God's plan for whatever reason.
Right.
So just still try to have faith that He was in control of that.
Right. Yeah, of course. Do you have any advice for those of us who may be supporting someone who was in your position, or things that people said or did that they should or should not have?
So, if you know somebody that's going through something like this, I think the best thing you can do, definitely pray for them.
Yeah.
Tell them you're praying for them, but really pray for them, because I feel like that's one of the things that got us through that situation. We had prayer warriors, and we had a whole church, a large church, praying for us. Our family, they were all believers. They were praying for us, and that certainly helps. And it's necessary to get you through something so devastating. Show face. If you can, show face. And, so many people showed face during that time.
Yeah.
And you remember the faces that you saw. You remember what they said and what they did. And one thing that kind of stuck out to me the most was Aunt Judy. She was on my in-law side of the family. She wrote us a card, and she said, I'm praying that God will give you an extra measure of blessings. And I read it, and I thought that was sweet, and I said, oh, that's sweet. And, everybody needs a Judy, really, because Judy's the one behind the scenes praying for you. But a year later, on what would have been Savannah's 1-year birthday, we're coming home with a healthy boy, and all I could think was God answered that prayer. And I don't mean to be such a mess, but
you're all good.
But it was such a blessing that 1 year, on what would have been her 1-year birthday,
right,
I'm in the back seat of the car with the baby boy, who gets to come home,
right, and it's just so obvious how God answered her prayers.
And all I could think was, Judy prayed that,
exactly,
and God answered that. And so, if you know somebody that's going through something like this, do pray for them. God does answer prayers, and make sure that person knows, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
One thing I say, do not do. Don't ask them if they're okay.
Yeah.
They're not okay.
They're obviously not.
They're not okay.
Yeah.
I can remember just before Savannah passing, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And you're scared. You know, you don't know how to deal with it. I remember sitting in a group of about 3 people. A couple people came and visited at the hospital. So we walked outside, we're visiting, and we're sitting in the group. And I was just in a trance.
Yeah.
I am not connected to this conversation.
Right.
I am not connected even to reality, at this time. And this person looks at me and says, hey, are you listening? Are you okay?
Oh, my goodness.
And
are you
remember
serious?
that. Yeah. And I remember, having to kind of shake myself to, that situation in the reality of that moment. I'm like, no, I'm really not okay. I don't even hear the conversation going. So be careful asking a person if they're okay. And if you notice that they seem distant, they are, because they have a world of concerns. I remember one friend of mine, she came to the hospital, and she was going to teach me how to crochet. So I thought that was nice.
Sweet,
she came and spent physical time with me.
Yeah.
And, she brought the yarn and the crochet needles, and I was figuring it out. It was, it was actually becoming something, and it was something to do for me, laying in the hospital bed when I couldn't do anything else. So, and if there are other children involved, if you know somebody that's going through something like this, be there for their children.
Yeah.
Take them, on a play date, or bring them something special, to kind of brighten their day, because it's hard on them too.
Right.
Kids are easy to distract, but they know when a situation is bad. They feel it too. So if you know somebody that's going through something like that and kids are involved, keep them in mind. And the parent that is at that same time distant and hurting, they appreciate that too, because that child needs to be exposed to, positivity and enlightening things.
This reminds me of we had a speaker at our church who talked about how to show up for someone when they're grieving.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something that I think about when this topic comes up, but just that if you say the right thing, they may never think of it ever again. But if you say the wrong thing, they're never going to forget it when they're going through something like this.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
And I think the essence of his message was that your presence means more than saying the right thing. Because a lot of people don't know what to say.
You don't.
And you think about it so hard, and like, that's really not important, I guess. It's more just that you're there. So
yeah.
I think that.
Yeah, I feel like show up, and that tells the person that you're available.
Right.
And, you know, just make it clear to them, if I can do something for you, you let me know.
Mm-hmm.
But never stop praying.
Yeah.
Even if they don't ask you to pray for them, just pray for them because they need it.
Right.
They don't need to even know that you're praying for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's nice if they do know, but I think it's okay to pray for people and not tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I'm curious in what ways, if any, you have seen the Lord work this situation for your good.
First off, in a time like that, you get to see people's authenticity. You know, you get to see, you get to be reminded, you know, that people love me, people care for me, and they care for my family. So that you don't want to go through something like that to be reminded, but that definitely was, you know, a good feeling to experience the outpour of genuine love from people. Something extremely good is like, I'm not sure that we would have had the third child and the fourth child.
Yeah.
It's scary to think that, you know, this could happen again. And as I mentioned, you know, 1 year after what would have been her 1 year birthday, we were able to celebrate it with another child that was healthy and coming home with us. And then my youngest son, your husband, often wondered, you know, would we have gotten to having another child, you know? And so it's like, I feel like all of this was a part of God's plan. I had to go through certain things for whatever reason. Maybe it made me a different kind of parent to the other two children that he blessed me with. Definitely good things came out of it. Definitely had an easy labor, you know, going through my labor and delivery with Ryan and then with Blake. And I feel like those moments, it was like God granting me a little extra blessing. You know, like you've been through a really hardship.
Right.
So this, what's considered a hardship of, you know, giving birth, I'm not going to make it so hard on you this time.
You were granted this.
I feel like I was,
pass.
Yeah. So
do you feel like there's been any instances where this experience has made you able to relate to someone else?
Absolutely.
That you wouldn't have been able to?
Absolutely. Probably within a year of me going through that, another lady in our community went through it. And I like to write. I feel like it's a really comfortable way to express your feelings. And I reached out to her. I knew what she was feeling. And she had gone through the very, almost exact situation as me. And I didn't know her very well personally, but that day and time, you can look in the phone book and get anybody's address. And we actually mailed cards. So I wrote her a card and gave her my phone number, and I sent it to her in the mail. And I believe that meant a lot to her, you know, because I knew exactly what she was feeling along her journey in that.
That was awesome.
And with her, God blessed her with another child after that was healthy. I was thankful, you know, to get to witness that. I feel like with any kind of hardship like this, God does have something for you in store.
I'm just going to say it's really cool to me. I feel like an obvious something good that comes out of every loss is that you are able to relate to others who've been through something similar. Even in like my own life, losses that I've experienced, I feel like it's super obvious that the Lord gives us opportunities to relate to others through that.
I do. I believe that too.
And I think it's really cool.
I do. Yeah, I believe. And that's one thing I'd say is one of my takeaways from that is I'm here for a reason. God showed me that reason. He's not going to show you in that moment. It could be gradually throughout the years, you know, after that you're shown where you can use that experience to either help yourself get through a hardship
Yeah.
or help someone else.
Right.
Yeah, get through a similar hardship.
Right. How has this loss shaped you as a person?
As far as it shaping me as a person, I feel like it's helped remind me that it means a lot to other people to feel your love and presence,
Yeah.
like we had talked about. So when I know somebody that's going through a hardship, and it might not be the loss of a baby, it could be the
Right.
loss of a relationship, or
Yeah.
the loss of a job, or just some kind of hardship. It's kind of reminded me that showing compassion and love to people means a lot
Yeah.
to them during that time. Even if it's just that I'm thinking of you. People need people. Throughout the years since that has happened, I've tried to show my compassion and concern and love when I see other people in some sort of hardship.
How are you feeling about everything now? And are there any ways that you like to honor your daughter, or times you think of her?
Yeah, so there's really not a day that goes by that I don't think of her.
Right.
And all through the years of raising my children, I often wondered what would life be like.
Yeah.
And life was so hectic at times, trying to race the clock to get here and get there, get the shoes on this kid while that kid's, over there taking his clothes off. But it would have been very different. I think of Savannah a lot, and I often think about what would my life today be like now that my other 3 children are grown and I'm empty nest.
Yeah.
I often think if I still had Savannah, if she had survived that trauma, because that labor was a trauma on her, if she had survived that, chances are that she would have had cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And so that would have been my life partner, to be with her the rest of my life. So I do often think if she were still here, would,
Right.
I like to walk at sunrise a lot, sunset and things like that. I do picture a lot if she were still here. I'd have her with me and we, just keep on doing life. And I feel like she would be a part of my everyday life. So
Exactly.
but yeah, and birthday rolls around and death date, of course, you can't forget that either. Occasions roll around and I see children. I don't do it as much anymore. Savannah would be 27 now, but throughout the years of what would have been her childhood, I couldn't help but think, oh, she would be 2, she would be 5, and that kind of thing. I don't do a lot like specific to Savannah in terms of anything noticeable, I meditate on her. I have some of her personal belongings and stuff, and I'll look at those occasionally, and some of the pictures and things like that. And just have my moment of remembering her.
Right.
But
I think I've seen your box, and you have some of her little clothes.
Yeah.
The nurses were very sweet.
They were so sweet.
Like you talked about them too.
They crocheted, or that would be knitting. They knitted like a little outfit for her, a little bonnet and things like that. Did her first haircut, and taped it into a little card with handprints. And the caregivers at the time, they were amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they were a ton of support.
What encouragement do you have for someone who's experiencing that right now?
For anybody else that might be going through something like that, familiarize yourself with what is actually going on. I mean, your doctors will explain to the best of their ability. If you don't understand, do your own research.
Yeah.
Make sure to have a relationship with God, because even if things turn out great, I feel like you're going to need God to get you to that point, because there's a lot of uncertainties in it. A lot of people maybe just get distracted with other things that make them feel good, or can kind of camouflage the situation. But definitely utilize your relationship with God, because He will provide you with the strength, the people, and the faith, to get through something that you can't, you're not equipped, to get through things like these on your own. So
I know this is definitely one of those things that I'm not sure how people who don't know God
me either
survive it. Really. Thank you so much for being willing to talk about this extremely difficult topic.
Thank you. I feel like if it can help anybody else that's
Right.
going through a
Yeah.
similar situation, it definitely needs to be talked about.
I'm definitely praying for anyone that this episode does touch. See you later.